So object-oriented programming is all about objects. Now, to create an object, first we need to create a class. A class is a blueprint for creating objects. It's like an object factory. So let's say we want to represent the concept of a bank account. So we need a class for that. Now, in this class, we can have properties like ID, owner, and balance, and methods like deposit and withdraw. So let's implement this class in TypeScript. We start with a class keyword, then give our class a name, like account. And once again, note that here I'm using the Pascal naming convention. So we capitalize the first letter of every word, okay? Then we add braces. Now here we define our properties. So we have ID, which is a number. Then we terminate this line using a semicolon. Similarly, we have owner, which is a string, and balance, which is a number. Now here we have a few compilation errors. Let's take a look at one of them. So the error is saying property balance has no initializer and is not definitely assigned in the constructor. Basically, the error is complaining that this property is not initialized. So to solve this problem, here we need to create a constructor. A constructor is a special function or a special method inside a class that is used for initializing an object. So we start with constructor. Now, just like defining a method, here we add our parameters. So here we need three parameters: ID, which is a number, owner, which is a string, and balance, which is a number. Now, this method cannot have a return type annotation because it should always return an instance of a bank account. So if we add braces here and hover our mouse over constructor, look, this constructor always returns a bank account, okay? Now, in this method, we type this to reference the current class. Then we type a period. And now we can see all the properties we defined earlier. So we set ID to the ID that we received over here. Similarly, we set this.owner to owner and this.balance to balance. So this is how we can initialize our properties. Now, in this class, we can also have methods. So let's implement the deposit method. So after the constructor, we add deposit, which takes an amount, which is a number, and returns void. So we're defining a function, but this function is called a method because it's inside a class, okay? Now in this method, we can have some logic like if amount is less than 0, or even less than or equal to 0, then we're gonna throw a new error and say invalid amount. Otherwise, if the amount is correct, we're gonna take that amount and add it to the balance. So we say this.balance plus equal amount, okay? So this is how we can create a class in TypeScript. Once we have a class, we can create an object using that class. And we're going to talk about that in the next lesson. But before we get there, let's quickly compile our code and see what we get. So here in the terminal, let's run tsc. Good. Now let's look at index.js. All right, look, we have a class called account, but in this class, we don't have any properties. So the properties that we defined over here are only for TypeScript. They don't exist in JavaScript. In JavaScript, we only have this constructor for initializing these properties. And obviously, we don't have any type annotations. So we don't see the type of these properties or the annotations for the deposit method. Everything else is exactly the same. So this was our first class. Next, I'm going to show you how to create an object using this class.